guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm sorry it's been so long since I posted a video, but the title of this video probably explains why. My husband and I just got done finishing our first ever round of IVF. If you follow me on Instagram, you already know that. I thought I would film a video, it's gonna be a long video, just going through my IVF experience from start to finish. And this is just the kind of video that I would have really liked to watch prior to going into IVF. I couldn't seem to find a video like that was comprehensive. They were all like vlogs of the retrieval day and vlogs of the transfer day and whatever, and it was like I just wanted to see the whole thing all together. Hopefully this will be helpful to any of you who are about to do IVF. So before I get started, I thought I'd go ahead and answer some of the questions that I'm guessing you probably have. So first of all, our age, I'm 28, my husband is 29. We started trying 3 years ago. As far as like our infertility diagnosis, we know for sure that there's a male factor issue, and then I could potentially also have endometriosis. The only way to find out for sure if you have that is through surgery, and my fertility doctor did not think that that was necessary at this time. The reason that we decided to do IVF, which is a question that a lot of people have, first of all, it's not a decision that came easy to us. We took a lot of time to kind of think about it and decide if we really wanted to do it. We were told by our fertility doctor, based on our test results, that we had a 1% chance of conceiving naturally, a 3% chance of conceiving with IUI. Then he estimated we had about a 50% chance of conceiving with IVF. So it was a pretty clear decision. And then the last thing you probably are wondering is if it worked or not. Unfortunately for us, it didn't work on this first try, which was a fresh transfer, but we were able to freeze 5 embryos. So we'll be going back for a frozen transfer after we take a little break. My body needs a break, and we just kind of want to like enjoy life for a little bit, because IVF really does take over your life. Okay, so I'm just gonna get right into it now. So the first step when you get started in IVF is you'll be on the birth control pill. And well, I'm saying all of this from my perspective. I was on the birth control pill. And the reason for this is because they don't want you to ovulate on your own. They want to be able to control every step of the process. I had to be on it for 20 days and then take a 3-day break, and then on it for another like week, I think it was, and then take a 3-day break prior to starting. So the reason for that is they don't want you to be on it for more than 20 days straight, because it affects your hormone levels. I would say in terms of like mood, the birth control pill and getting on and off the birth control pill like that affected my mood so much more than any of the other hormone stuff, the injections, any of that. I felt so depressed like when I was on the birth control pill. And I think that's just because it takes, normally when you get on or off the pill, it takes like 3 months to adjust, they say. And so if you're getting on and off and on and off, like it's gonna mess up your hormone levels and mess up your mood. So just be prepared for that. All right, we're on our way to our first, well, it's not our first appointment.
They're kicking off the actual IVF treatment.
Yeah, at this appointment they're gonna show us how to do the injections. We're gonna sign a bunch of forms. We're gonna pay. And what else are we doing? Is that it?
Check out the lining of your uterus.
Oh yeah, anyway, that's what we're doing today. I'm a little nervous that I'm not gonna remember like how to do, I'm glad we're both here obviously, but like how to do the injections. I hope it's not too complicated.
I think we can figure it out. I'm sure there's videos on YouTube and stuff.
Yeah, anyway, that's what we're doing today. So then a couple of days after that is when we started injections. I was dreading every step of the way with IVF, and I want to mention that in this video because everything that I could find about IVF or people giving their IVF stories, they were all so excited, and I felt like, is something wrong with me? Like, should I not be doing this? Because I really was not looking forward to it. I was scared of what it was going to do to my body, how I was going to feel. I don't like to take drugs. I don't like to take Tylenol, like unless I really have to. So it's just the overwhelming amount of drugs that you have to take is scary. And then also in hindsight, I think I had a lot of fear around going through all of this, and then if it doesn't work, I was scared of setting myself up for that type of disappointment. I almost had in my head that I would rather just not do it at all than like go through all of that. But yeah, I wanted to mention those feelings because I'm sure I can't be the only one who like felt that way going into it. I knew that I was really lucky to be able to even do IVF. It's very expensive. Not everyone is able to, but I couldn't help but feel like just a sense of dread around the whole thing. So you'll probably be able to tell by this clip, I just seem a little down, and it's just because I was like really scared to get started on injections. So I just realized that I never did an update after our appointment that we had on Wednesday, but it was like a jam-packed appointment. We learned a whole bunch of stuff and had to sign a bunch of papers. Yeah, I think we were just kind of like tired after that. And then the past couple of days, I've been coming off of the birth control pill. So because my hormones were adjusting and everything, I've just been kind of like depressed and tired, and yeah, so I haven't really felt like doing an update. But anyway, tonight we do our first injections. And I just thought I'd kind of show you like all this stuff. This morning we took Z-Pack. We both have to take this. This is like some kind of special prenatal vitamin that they told me to get. I'm also taking baby aspirin because it's a blood thinner. And then they didn't tell me to take this, but I'm also taking a probiotic. We got our huge box of injections and stuff. We got this the other day. I haven't really taken it out because it's kind of like intimidating. And then there's some more in the fridge too, but so we'll be starting this tonight, which is kind of crazy. All of this stuff, like all of the drugs, it's just kind of overwhelming. This is our calendar, and the first time she went over this calendar with us, I almost cried because I was just like, it's just so overwhelming. But anyway, this is today, and so you can see all the stuff I had to take in the morning, and then tonight we do the injections. All right, it's almost 7.
Time to do some drugs.
I'm nervous. We're probably gonna look dumb because we don't know what we're doing. We got this stuff, and we got Minnow Pure. Do we need anything in here?
I don't think so.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Did they call in more? Or?
Well, I think there's more than one dose in here.
Drop 225 out.
Yeah.
First you've got to add the liquid to it.
450.
This is 450, but it'll make 600.
And she said you kind of just
swirl
with one of those.
Okay. Pretty sure.
Yeah, I think you're right. Is it working?
No, I gotta push it in.
Oh, you gotta have the needle in the liquid.
So I'll go like this.
What is the point of this cap thing?
Because this is too short.
Oh, wait. Weren't there like extra needles? Here's a needle.
Just put all this stuff away.
This is stressful.
Oh, there you go. Those
yeah, but these are for the progesterone.
That was it this thing?
No, you don't. Maybe do you just pop it on here?
This son of a bitch isn't that long.
Maybe I think you just pop it on, maybe. Or
look, this is the same knife.
it is.
It was bigger. It wasn't a bigger. It was a bigger syringe. Where's the Minnow Pure?
We have no idea what we're doing. Did you find it?
Yeah.
Okay.
In 3cc syringe.
Oh.
So small.
I forgot that we had these notes. Oh, you attach the cap to the syringe. I didn't really ice, but that's okay. I'm tough. I didn't have time to ice because we were trying to figure out.
Pinch an inch.
Okay.
There we go. There you go.
Is that all we do? Yeah. We did it.
I'll be there.
I love you. This is stressful. Day 1 is down.
Got a whole new respect for junkies.
Now we only have what? How many do we have to go? Oh, I get my Reese cup.
Yeah, positive reinforcement. What's that?
You really should get one too. 'Cause it really doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt at all. I don't think.
Good.
I mean, unless you're like
Stressful.
terrified of needles. Yeah, the preparation was the stressful part.
On the way back from the doctor, we were talking about how bad we sucked at chemistry lab in college.
Yeah, and so
We're smart people.
That explains
It's
a lot.
just like there's a lot going on here.
Well, I mean, like, look, it's a lot. Thought I would check in and give you a little update. Today is day 6. I'm feeling good. I really haven't felt bad since starting the injections. First few days I had no symptoms whatsoever, just felt like my normal self. Yesterday, which was Valentine's Day, that was day 5, and yesterday was the first day that I started feeling a little bit of symptoms, just like we had an appointment at our fertility doctor, which is like 2 hours away, and sitting in the car, I started feeling kind of uncomfortable, like just kind of bloated and like some pain in my lower back and like lower abdomen. Oh, I have been very tired too today and yesterday. Like last night I went to bed super early, like 9 o'clock. But yeah, overall, I feel really good. The injections haven't been nearly as bad as I was afraid they were gonna be. In fact, they haven't been bad at all. I mean, they're an inconvenience because like every night at the same time, we have to go mix everything up and do it. And then today, like I said, today's day 6. Today I started the Cetrotide, I think it's called, in the mornings. And that is to prevent me from ovulating. I'll show you, I have like a little bit of bruising. I have a little bit of bruising right there, but that's the only, you can see all the little like, I feel like a pin cushion. But yeah, you can see all the little dots, but this was the only one. I think we just hit like a capillary or something. If you have this coming up and you're like scared, the injection's really not so bad. I had an ultrasound and blood work yesterday on day 5. My estrogen was like 750 something, which I guess they want it to be 700 or above. So that's good. I had 8 follicles on my right ovary and 6 on my left. The one on the right was bigger as well. So basically what they told me was my right ovary is right on track. My left ovary is kind of lagging behind. We have another ultrasound on Saturday. Today is Thursday. I will check in with you then. Okay, it's day 8. I thought I would do another update. As you can tell, I'm laying on the couch. We had our ultrasound today and I'm like really uncomfortable today. Being in the car is super uncomfortable to me, and we have a 2-hour drive each way, and then plus we ate lunch. And the last couple of days, like anytime I eat, I just feel like I don't want to eat very much because being full just feels super uncomfortable, and I'm just having a lot of kind of like achy pains down there. It feels really like heavy. I've got my heating pad here because my nurse told me today that it's okay to use a heating pad on my lower back because my lower back has been very, I don't know, crampy, kind of feels like sore muscles. The doctor's appointment went well today. I'm like right on schedule so far. My left ovary caught up and actually passed my right one. So now my left one is like in the lead just slightly. But basically like everything is right on track. They don't think they're gonna change my medicine, and the original schedule that they gave me is what they think we'll probably stick to. I did tear up a little bit as we were leaving the doctor. I don't know if it's probably the hormones, but I started crying a little bit because at this point we're like, I guess kind of halfway through with the treatment part, and you just start to get just tired of being like poked and prodded nonstop. That's how I was feeling, sort of just like, you know, you're giving yourself shots every day. You're getting these like internal ultrasounds all the time, and you just start to feel like exhausted by that. And I don't really know how to explain it, but trying to hang in there, take it a day at a time. And for now I'm just chilling on the couch in my sweatpants. So yeah, super like bloated and uncomfortable. Laying down helps a lot. My update for today. I'll check in with you later. Day 9.
Day 9.
Thoughts, Hubs? How's my battery already?
Halfway or so there.
Yeah, remember a few days back when I was like, the injections are nothing. I feel great. Not anymore. I feel like crap. I feel like I'm really pregnant. Like my back hurts, and I feel like my stomach weighs 800 pounds. Here's a car.
Oops.
Okay, so then the injections, you just keep doing them. They go on for about a week and a couple of days. It depends on how your ovaries are responding though, and how you're responding to the medication. Some people don't respond enough, and some people respond way too much. So they have to kind of make sure that you're progressing at the right rate. And they'll also take your blood work during that time, and they'll test your estrogen levels. So if they get too high, then you're at risk for OHSS. So a couple of days prior to retrieval, I started feeling really uncomfortable. Like you can feel that your ovaries are getting bigger and heavy, and like toward the end, each follicle is about 2 centimeters in diameter. So that's like the size of a green grape. So just picture like 2 little bunches of grapes hanging there, and it's like, that's kind of what it feels like. I remember laying in bed and I was trying to lay on one side, and I could just, it's kind of gross, I could kind of like feel the weight of my, like I was laying on my left side, I could feel the weight of my right ovary like hanging there. It's very uncomfortable. So then I went in for the retrieval. This is like a week and a half after starting injections. It's retrieval day.
Time to get the eggs out.
Time to get the eggs out.
7 on one side, 7 on the other.
Yeah.
Last time we counted.
At the last time they counted, I had 7 on each side, but that could change, I guess. Haven't had anything to eat since like 9:30 last night. Retrieval time is at 12:45. Man, I'm thirsty.
I made a big omelet this morning, which is kind of cruel, but I wanted the eggs for good luck.
Yeah. Okay. Kinda nervous, but I'm just like ready to get this done, right?
Get to the next step.
Yeah, get moved on to the next step. It's like a surgery. I mean, you're put under. I went in, they put me in a gown, they lay you down on like a surgery bed, but they've got the stirrups up, and they're like heavy duty stirrups so that you can't like move your legs. So you're just like laying there like spread eagle, and there's a bunch of people in the room, so it's kind of awkward, but they give you the like sedatives and whatever they give you pretty quick, so you don't really care. Like the nurse gave me some kind of, she said this will take the edge off, and it did. It just made me feel like really drunk, and then I barely remember. The doctor came in, and then I was out. When I woke up, they had me in like a recliner, and when I woke up, I was in a lot of pain. It just felt like very strong menstrual cramps, but like constant. I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't take this pain, like give me the drugs, because they had given me some kind of really strong Tylenol with codeine, something like that. It was the strong stuff. So I took 2 of those. Those are strong anyway, but I was in so much pain, I was like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to take this, you know, on a 2-hour drive home. Then I like sat up in the recliner, and I think it was just that reclined position was putting pressure on like my ovary region, because once I sat up, it relieved some of that pressure, and I really was not in that much pain at all. But I had already taken the really strong pain medicine, so I probably would have been okay, or at least maybe I could have only taken 1 rather than 2. But we went in the car, and I'm in the car for like 15 or 20 minutes. All of a sudden I got super nauseous and just felt like I was gonna throw up, and that never happens to me, so I know it was from the pain pills, because they've made me sick in the past. And I didn't have a ton of food on my stomach, because they had just given me crackers after surgery. That was awful, but finally that wore off. It was all good. I didn't take any more of those pain pills, and I really didn't need to. I pretty much, after the retrieval, just took it easy. I just laid around. I had my heating pad. Something that kind of sucks is the night of the retrieval, you have to do your first progesterone injection. So these are kind of like the second round of injections you have to do. So the first round is over, the ones that are in the belly, and then after the retrieval, you start the progesterone. And the progesterone ones are worse. They're in, they say that they're in your butt cheek. That's what they always call it. I don't consider that area of my butt cheek. It's like right above, it's like your lower back muscles, basically. And the needle is much longer, and it's progesterone in oil, so it's kind of a thick substance. So yeah, it kind of sucked having to start that like the night of the retrieval, when it hurt to like stand up and walk around, and I had to kind of like deal with getting this injection. Thank God my husband did it for me. I can't honestly imagine how people do those by themselves, but some people do. So when you first wake up from retrieval, they'll be able to tell you how many follicles they were able to retrieve. In my case, they retrieved 13, which I was happy with that number. It's like not too much, not too few. Something really cool that happened for us is prior to doing IVF, our main sort of moral issue that we had with it was we really didn't want to have any excess embryos. You have to decide, if you have a bunch of embryos left over, like what you want to do with them. Like as Christians, that was sort of our only moral issue with it. Some people have a lot of moral issues with it, and we took all of that into consideration. But our main thing was not having excess embryos. So we discussed that with our fertility doctor, and he said that was a common concern. And so he said, like, how many kids would you ideally like to have? We said, you know, 2 to 3 would be wonderful. And so he sort of did like the statistics, and based on our unique situation, test results and whatnot, he said, I think you should fertilize only 10. So if we, you know, if we got 15 eggs, we would only fertilize 10 of those. We felt good about that, but then there is always sort of this like feeling in the back of your mind, like, oh, what if we don't end up with enough embryos because of that decision or something? And it felt sort of like a risk, but we felt like we were doing the right thing. Well, anyway, the day after the retrieval, you'll get a call and they'll tell you how many eggs like ended up being mature, so that you'll know how many that they're going to fertilize and attempt to create embryos. So we had said initially we only wanted to fertilize 10. The embryologist called us and said we actually only had 10 mature eggs, which I just felt like that was like a sign from God that like we were doing the right thing. I mean, the odds of having that exact number of mature eggs is kind of crazy to me, because you know, I could have produced 1 or 2 more follicles than I did, or 1 or 2 less than I did, and it would have changed everything. So I just felt like that was really crazy that we had exactly 10, which was exactly the number that we said we wanted to fertilize. So it kind of was a relief, because it took that decision out of our hands. Like that was all we had to fertilize anyway. I don't know if you believe in stuff like that, but I do, and I thought that was really cool. So they fertilized the 10 that we had that matured. Out of those 10, 8 fertilized properly. So I guess 2 just right off the bat didn't take, or didn't, you know, look right. And then you're just waiting to find out if you'll do a 3-day transfer or a 5-day transfer. And you want, from what I understand, a 5-day transfer, because that means that they're developing perfectly normal. Like if they're not developing properly, then they'll do a 3-day transfer, because they have a better chance of living in the womb than they do in like the petri dish or whatever they're in. So we were really hoping for a 5-day transfer, obviously, but it's like nerve-wracking, because you just don't know, and you've got these like embryos that are at the doctor's office, and we kept calling our embryologist our babysitter. You just don't really know what's going on, and it's just kind of nerve-wracking. But they called us it was a Saturday. They called us that Saturday morning, and it was like, this was either going to be the day we had our 3-day transfer, or we were going to find out that we had the transfer in a couple days after that. And so they said, they're looking great. Your transfer will be on Monday. At that time they said there are 3 that look perfect, and then there are 3 that are developing normally, but they're just like a little behind. And they said that could have something to do with the fact that like my retrieval was later in the day than they usually are or something. So potentially 6, he said, which out of 8 is like really good. We were so happy with that. So I went in for the transfer on that Monday. And this is kind of silly too. There was a lot of fear for me around every step of the IVF process, but for whatever reason, from the very beginning, I was really scared of the transfer. And actually I know the reason is because when we first found out about like our infertility situation, one of the tests that they ran on me was called an HSG. This is a test where they run dye through your fallopian tubes to see whether or not your fallopian tubes are open, basically. And when they do this, they put a catheter in, and when the doctor put the catheter in for me, I was in excruciating pain. This was before they even started the dye. I ended up having 1 fallopian tube that was blocked, which is why they think I could potentially have endometriosis. But point is, I knew that for the transfer they were going to be using a catheter, and I was terrified because the catheter was the thing that hurt so badly. I came to find out later that the catheter they use in the HSG has like balloons on the end of it, and so that could have been maybe what was causing the pain. That test was horrible, so I was scared of the transfer. They gave me a Valium to take before the transfer, which I was thankful for because I was really nervous anyway. Some places automatically give everyone a Valium because it's a muscle relaxer and it relaxes your uterus, so they think that can maybe help. Whatever the case, I was very happy to take a Valium because I'm a very nervous person and I was scared of the transfer. So I took that. And the other thing that you have to do before the transfer is you have to have a full bladder. This was the other thing I was nervous about because I have like a small bladder anyway. I'm the kind of person, like if we go on a road trip, everyone gets annoyed with me because I have to stop and pee like every hour. And so I was just like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna, like, what if I like pee on the doctor. I mean, I don't know, like how full does your bladder have to be? You know, I was scared. I think some people, they hear you have to have a full bladder and they like start chugging the water. And based on what I read online, I knew like I wasn't gonna do that because I didn't want to be like insanely uncomfortable. So I just like sipped on, and I really didn't drink very much water at all. Like I was drinking it when we got to the doctor's office still, and I was just kind of sipping on it. And when I went in for the transfer, it was like I had to go to the bathroom, but it wasn't like an emergency. The transfer itself was painless. I was worried for nothing. It was the easiest part of the entire thing. I didn't feel a thing. The only thing that was mildly uncomfortable was the ultrasound tech was pushing pretty hard into my bladder area. But even that, like, it really wasn't that big of a deal. But it's really cool because you get to see on the screen what they're doing. You can see the catheter, you can see when the little embryo goes in. So it's a really cool thing. You get like a little picture, you know, it's a really cool experience to go through. Prior to the transfer, the entire cycle, I had kept a very level head. I was very realistic. Some people are like, oh, you know, you don't want to be negative. You want to only think positive, only think positive. But I sort of think like, don't set yourself up for heartbreak when the odds are the odds. Like even under the best case scenario, which we had, we still have like a 40 to 50 chance that it'll work. So I was very like aware of that the entire time. Like when people would be excited that we were doing it, I would always be the one to be like, well, it doesn't usually work on the first try, like try to manage everyone's expectations. However, during the transfer, I was just in such, like after the transfer was over, I was in such a much better spirits, much better mood about things. You can't help but get excited by the fact that you could potentially be pregnant. They even call it like pregnant until proven otherwise, because they did put an embryo in there, like you saw it go in, and it's really hard not to get excited by that. My doctor, right after the transfer, literally came out and said like, yeah, everything went great. I think you'll probably get pregnant. In hindsight, I think it was sort of wrong that he said that, because like I said, the odds are the odds. And the fact that he said that, that was when I first started getting my hopes up a little bit, was after the transfer. That was when I finally, like, because I just thought to myself, like, the doctor's saying it's probably gonna work. I mean, like, why not get my hopes up? So that was when I kind of started getting excited and looked around at maternity clothes and stuff like that. And like I said, it didn't work for us. So that was disappointing. I sort of knew that it hadn't worked probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 days before we did the pregnancy test. They tell you not to do a home pregnancy test. I don't know who has that kind of willpower, honestly. So I did the home pregnancy test. They were all negative. Even the morning of the test, it was negative. So I was like, yeah, this didn't work. And then also I had a lot of, it started out just spotting, and I was like, maybe this is implantation, but I started having more of that, and so I just knew it hadn't worked. So when she called the day of the pregnancy test, she was like, thought I was gonna like start crying, because I think most people do, and I didn't, because I just knew already, like I was gonna be shocked if she said that the pregnancy test was positive. But I was sort of depressed for a couple of days, like a couple of days prior to the pregnancy test, when I realized like it hadn't worked. By the time you get to the point of getting your pregnancy test result, you've been going through this for like 2 months, and it's like it feels like, oh, that was all for nothing. But obviously for us it wasn't, because like I said, we were able to have some frozen, which was such a blessing. So I hope this video has been helpful for you. This is just stuff that I would have liked to have known. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to answer them. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.